Hello and welcome to the Reset Series Episode 10. Today we will find out who the 2032 candidates will be coming in, the election season. We're about to find out. Richard Ojeda, the president, is term limited. So let's find out. North Carolina's Senator Ted Budd is the first candidate to announce their run for president in the 2032 election cycle. He is launching a bid as a Republican, citing loyalty to the Ojeda administration, as he was endorsed by Ojeda during his time as president when he was running for senator. So Ted Budd has a lot back for him as being one of the more Ojeda-friendly senators in the Senate. Here's his current approval rating thus far, and he has an 89% approval rating from the Republicans, 15% approval from Democrats, and a 60% approval from third-party voters. Nationally, he has a 55% approval rating, 43% disapproval rating, and a plus 12 net approval across the board. One of the more favorable candidates in the race so far. Our first Democrat to run for president is someone who was just recently elected to the Senate, and that is New York Senator-elect Chelsea Clinton, who will run for president. She is the daughter of former President Bill Clinton, so Chelsea Clinton has, a lot of baggage with that last name. Here is her approval rating. She has a 2% approval from Republicans, 60% approval from Democrats, and a 38% approval from third-party voters. That last name comes with a lot of baggage. Nationally, she has a 33% approval rating, 65% disapproval, and a net 32% disapproval across the country. Not the best candidate, but we've seen worse. Donald Trump had a 20% approval in 2016 when he won the Republican nomination. So anything is possible. Associate Justice of the Supreme Court Neil Gorsuch announces a surprising run for president. There were wording that the Supreme Court, a few of them were planning on running for president, but Neil Gorsuch was the first of maybe all 9 decide to run, who knows, but Neil Gorsuch is announcing a surprise run for president in 2032. He's a very moderate Republican, or moderate conservative on the court, but here is his approval rating. It says an 89% approval rating from Republicans, 13% approval rating from Democrats, and a 58% approval from third-party voters. And nationally has a 53% approval rating, 45% disapproval, giving him a net 8% approval across the country. Again, a very favorable candidate in this race. New York Governor, this is a reboot, Antonio Delgado has announced that he will be running for president, the second Democrat to launch a run for the White House. So far, we haven't had any Ojeda administration officials announce their runs, however, quite a few are teasing it. But Delgado, who recently was elected to his first term just a few months ago, is announcing that he will be running for president in 2032. Here's his approval ratings Here's his approval ratings thus far. He has a 9% approval from Republicans, 85% from Democrats, and 50% from third-party voters, giving him a 48% approval rating, 49% disapproval, and a net minus one disapproval nationwide. He has a lot of room to grow. He's been lieutenant governor for about 12 years. He's a very popular, so far popular. He was just inaugurated, so he still has a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to shrink. We'll just have to wait and see if he gets enough support to win the nomination. Former French ambassador and two-time Republican nominee Jamie McCord has announced that she will be running for president yet again, saying the last 2 times it was rigged. A third-party president can never be elected as president. She is known as the next Donald Trump due to her spouting rigged, rigged, rigged. But she is announcing another term for the White House. Here's her current approval rating, and these are abysmal numbers, almost as bad as Chelsea Clinton's. But she has a 60% approval rating from Republicans, 3% approval from Democrats, and a 38% approval from third-party voters. Her total support, 34% approval rating, 64% disapproval rating, giving her a net 30% disapproval across the country. Very hated by the country due to the fact that she had poor performances in the last 2 elections. But for some reason, she's running again. She's becoming the perennial candidate. Hopefully Republicans don't nominate her for a third time. Hopefully they learn. New York Congressman Andrew Garbarino has announced that he will be running for president. He is, one of the more moderate members of Congress running for president. He wasn't very pro-Ojeda, though he voted with him more so than most people in Congress for, an average. Here is his approval rating thus far. He has a 72% approval rating from Republicans, 8% approval from Democrats, and a 55% approval from third-party voters. His total support, 45% approve, 53% disapprove, giving him a net 8% disapproval rating. He has a lot of room to grow so far. Like Antonio Delgado, a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to, unimprove his numbers. But we still have a long election cycle to go to, deal with. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court Buck Newton, the former North Carolina Attorney General, has announced his bid for the White House. The second Supreme Court justice to announce a run for president this election cycle. First Neil Gorsuch and now Buck Newton. Newton is a very polarizing figure on the Supreme Court, one of the more conservative members of the court, appointed by Ojeda, so he has some Ojeda points to work with. Here's his approval rating as an 88% approval rating from Republicans, 5% approval from Democrats, and 60% approval from third-party supporters. His total support, 51% approve, 47% disapprove, giving him a plus 4% of net approval across the country. The Chief Justice is most of the time approved in the United States, and Buck Newton is no exception. The first Ojeda White House official, the Vice President Abigail Johnson, is launching a run for president in 2032, this time as a Republican instead of an independent. She's running with the Republicans. She has been known to be a part of the neocon wing of the party. Let's take a look at her approval rating. She has a 50% approval from Republicans, 30% approval from Democrats, and a 55% approval from third-party supporters. Very mixed. A lot of Americans are very mixed about her. She doesn't have that fiery spirit like Richard Ojeda does. People compare her to George H.W. Bush, very quiet, disconnected from the administration. Her total support, 45% of Americans approve and 53% of Americans disapprove, giving her a net 8% disapproval across the country. A former Ojeda White House official, former State Secretary Jane Hartley, has announced that she will be running for president in 2032. She resigned shortly a while ago, but she is announcing a run for president. We expected this when she resigned, but she is now making it official. Here's her approval ratings. She has an 18% approval from Republicans, 88% from Democrats, and 57% from third-party supporters. Her total support, 54% approve, 44% disapprove, giving her a net 10% approval across the country. A very popular candidate on the Democrat side thus far. And we have another candidate announcing. Former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick is launching his second White House run. This time he ran in 2020. 12 years later, he's running again. Here's his numbers. He has an 18% approval from Republicans, 88% from Democrats, and 57% from third-party supporters, giving him pretty much the same numbers as Jane Hartley, a 10% approval across the country. Very good numbers for Deval Patrick, but, he's not that well known. He's still got a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to, improve his numbers during this election cycle. South Carolina Governor Pamela Evitt is the latest candidate to announce a run for president. She just won re-election just a few months ago by around 9 points against her opponent, Boyd Rutherford, who is an Ojeda official, and she defied the odds. She is one of the more anti-Ojeda governors in the country, so she has that going for her. Here are her numbers so far. She has a 72% approval from Republicans, 10% approval from Democrats, and a 40% approval from other. Totaling her total support at 41% approve, 57% disapprove, and it would given her a net disapproval of 16% across the country. Another unpopular candidate for the Republicans, so we'll just have to wait. Here is the national polling so far. We have 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats and 7 Republicans, running for president. On the Democrat side, Jane Hartley leads the field. Former State Secretary Jane Hartley leads with 36%. Senator Chelsea Clinton at 28%, Governor Antonio Delgado at 24%, and former Governor Deval Patrick at 8%. Going on to the Republican side, Vice President Abigail Johnson leads the pack of 7 at 29%, Governor Pamela Evitt at 25%, Senator Ted Budd at 17%, Chief Justice Buck Newton at 15%, Associate Justice Neil Gorsuch at 10%, Congressman Andrew Garbarino at 1%, and former Ambassador Jamie McCourt at 1%. Republicans are finally learning their lesson of not nominating Jamie McCourt. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Primaries are will be the next episode in the series. Don't forget to go follow my Twitter at Chaotic Politics. This is the Chaotic One saying peace.